My first niche fragrance was so expensive I had to save for months just to get it. I once wore so much of a perfume that people in the car started choking and then called me a granny. And I have followed a complete stranger into a store to find out what was that fragrance that he had on that became my signature scent. Fragrances tie us to memories, people and places. And this is 15 years in fragrance told through 11 bottles that shaped me. So, let me introduce myself. I'm Ioannis, and some of you already may know me from my other platforms as Anhedonix, which comes from anhedonia, or the inability to feel pleasure. But we're not going to trauma bond on my first video. That's a story for another time. So if you already know me from my other platforms, feel free to subscribe, as this is something completely new to me and a little bit terrifying. From a very young age, I've been addicted to fragrances, partly because of my mother, and because I grew up on an island in Greece, Crete. So I was surrounded by scents of lemon trees blooming, fig trees, the salt drying on your skin after the beach, herbs in the garden, incense from the surrounding churches, and my favorite of all, night blooming jasmine. So, I'm not going to bore you anymore, let's dive into my fragrances. When I first came into London 15 years ago, I worked in retail, just on Carnaby Street, and that's where Liberty is also located. So one day I went into the store and I smelled Creed Aventus. And I instantly fell in love, but it was so out of my budget I had to save for months. So this is a bottle that it's empty right now, and what is left in there, it doesn't even smell great anymore, because I didn't know how to store fragrances back then. But it has an emotional value that makes me want to keep it forever, as some friends at that time bought me a gift card to complete the purchase. So this is where it all started, and I will love this fragrance forever. For a very long time, I discovered fragrances through Liberty. I would pop in on my lunch break and try something new, and that's when I discovered Debaser. You see, I love fig, everything about it. The taste, the smell, the texture, and this is the best fig I have ever tried. It instantly took me back to Greece. I have this fragrance for years, and it still smells as great as when I bought it. Remember that fragrance in the car that I mentioned in the opening? Well, this is the one. Frederic Malle's Carnal Flower. The day I discovered this, I also tried Portrait of a Lady, which I fell in love with, but I could never pull off. But Carnal Flower felt very familiar to me, as it blends tuberose and jasmine in a very camphorous combination that it's not for everyone, because it's quite indolic. It is a fragrance by Dominique Orpheon, one of my favorite perfumers, and I learned the hard way that it's quite difficult to wear. And if you go too heavy on the sprays, you will definitely choke the people around you. And so we move into my second signature scent after Creed Aventus, which is Orpheon by Diptyque. So one day I followed a complete stranger into a store to tell me what this was. But the only thing he could remember was that it was from Diptyque. So I went once again to that department store and started sniffing one by one all of the bottles until I found it. And this is exactly what I would call quiet luxury. It has this clean but powdery, woody and sensual element that I cannot stop loving. And this is my second bottle and it still has a dent. I absolutely adore this. And after a while, because I was used to that clean element from the juniper berry, I came across a fragrance from MFK called Gentle Fluidity Silver. It's so easy to wear, clean, soapy, and like a breeze coming through from the window. Absolutely stunning. Now we fast forward a couple of years to the moment that I started creating content, and that's when I discovered Danam. And this is white rice. It's a very gentle skin scent with that steamy rice accord and a little bit of sesame. I just can't get enough of it, and it's actually the fragrance that I go to bed with. It's very light to wear it daily when I go out, unless I'm staying at home. But when I go to bed, this is what I reach for. It instantly makes me feel calm and collected and puts me to sleep. Like it offers me a gentle hug. Because yes, I wear fragrances to bed too, don't judge me. And by the way, if you are enjoying where this goes, make sure to hit subscribe, because it's about to get a little bit naughty. But in bed, we don't only sleep, and I do love a sexy fragrance, and this is the sexiest that I've tried so far. This is Oud Cadenza by Maison Crivelli, and it features a note that I absolutely dislike, which is dense. And it's blended with oud and leather, which makes it a sensual bomb. Call me whatever you want, but this is a fragrance with a purpose. Not only to smell good, but to make you remember me long after I'm gone. And trust me, it absolutely works. One thing to know about me is that I absolutely hate vanilla, There is nothing sophisticated about it because most of the times it leans too heavy on the gourmand. It's too sugary or too sweet, and I just don't want to smell like a dessert. But there are exceptions. And the most expensive fragrance in my collection that I bought with my own money is a massive bottle of Angelique Noire by Guerlain. And you can imagine already how much this thing costs. So this fragrance pairs vanilla with angelica root, which gives it a bitter scent. And that's what makes it very different to me and actually very addictive and sophisticated. Now, art plays a very important role in my life. So things that feel new and different really excite me. So I was after a brand not many people talk about, and that's when I discovered Les Indemodables. I bought a discovery scent online, which I loved a lot of their fragrances. You should definitely check them out. But I kept going back to Cuir de Chine. This is an osmanthus fragrance, and osmanthus has actually become one of my favorite flowers, because it can smell sweet like apricot or leather. And if you actually smell the raw ingredient, it almost smells like blue cheese, which thankfully you don't get in lower concentrations. Now recently, I'm a lot more into musky fragrances, especially during spring and summer when the weather is really nice. And there is one fragrance I absolutely adore. Musc K by K. This is a fragrance that I wanted to buy for so long, but the store where I get my fragrances had this sold out for a very long time. So when I went to Milan for exams, I saw the K booth, and I went there to check it out. And that's when I met Sonia Constance, the perfumer behind this fragrance, and she offered me a bottle. I was speechless. This is the musk fragrance that I will cherish forever. And by the way, I have a lot of musky fragrances in my collection, so if you want a video on that, let me know. So one last fragrance before I wrap up, and it's a fragrance I received in PR. And it's a fragrance from a very famous perfumer, Quentin Biche. This is Sous le Pas for Chloé. And if the releases this year continue to be like that, this will be my top pick of the year. It transports me in a forest surrounded by pine where there is a bath. It smells like a spa. It's absolutely stunning. And it also has this refreshing scent that feels very invigorating. So, I hope you enjoyed my very first long-form video. And I know I need to fix the light, but I'm used to shooting natural light, and this video took forever. These 11 fragrances have been very special to my journey. And I have a collection of 300 fragrances, but I believe that these give you a good understanding of what I like. So if you feel like our taste aligns, subscribe for more and drop in the comments which is your favorite fragrance in your collection. I know, impossible to choose. And we will see each other on the next video. Until then,